In today's video, we're going to be editing a set of Porsche GT4 RS photos that I took a little while back. I'm going to show you guys my process of editing a full album of photos. So we're going to start by editing this photo I have pulled up right here. Then I'm going to show you guys how to get all the photos in your album to have the same edit on them. Because I'm sure you guys are all like me, when you go out on a photo shoot, you take thousands on thousands of photos. And this is my way of making the editing process a lot faster. So let's hop into editing these photos. So first we're going to start with this photo right here. It's shot on my Canon EOS R6 at 18mm with a shutter speed of 1/1250, an aperture of 2.8, and an ISO of 160. When I'm shooting cars, I'm always making sure to have my aperture at 2.8 or under that, just so I'm getting that car in focus and everything around it is kind of not in focus. So the first thing I'm going to do when I get onto Lightroom is I'm going to crop the photo the way that I want it. So I'm going to take this photo and I'm going to do a little bit of straightening up with the car. Right where that wheel is, right there is where I'm looking at. And then I'm going to go over to my editing settings. We're going to start up at the top first. So we're going to take exposure and we're going to get a little bit more exposure in the photo. I like to take out some of the contrast to my photos just so later on I can add different things back in. So we're going to take out a lot of contrast. So we're going to go down a lot. Next, we're also going to take down a lot of the highlights. And then here we're going to take out some of the shadows. The reason I'm doing this is because later on in the masking, I'm going to bring back a lot of details back into the car and into the image. Then we're going to go down to the whites and I'm going to completely remove the whites out of the photo. And we're going to take the blacks down just a little bit. All right, next let's go into our curves. So I typically start with 3 dots along these points and then I adjust from there. So we're going to do a little S curve out of this. So we're going to pull this part up just a little bit and then take this part down here some and see how that's bringing some of the black back into the image. Now I always like to have a little bit of a fade in all my images, so that's where we're going to do this right here. So right here on the left side of this box, this final dot is going to be your fading dot. And this final dot is going to be where all the blacks are held in the image, so if you raise it up a little bit, you'll be releasing some of the blacks in the image. All right, now we're down to our color temperatures. We're going to go down here and we're going to add a little bit of vibrance into the image. And vibrance and saturation are very similar, but really different. Vibrance is going to pull up some of the colors in the image, but I think of it as lightly pulling up the saturation. So we're going to pull the vibrance up just a little bit and then a little bit on that saturation. All right, and then we want to come down and make sure we're getting that blue on that car correct. So we're going to pull this slider over a little bit. We may pull that back just a little bit. All right, and then for the greens in this image, we're going to look and see if we can take out some of those greens. And I kind of want to affect the orange. Even though we like green grass, I do want to make this not as green. So we did make it a little bit more orange because you can kind of tell it was a fall setting. So we're going to go towards those kind of colors. And then we're going to go down to the color grading of the image. So on this photo, I would want to go up to the oranges right here. I want to go up and take the oranges up, and then in the midtones I want to go and take the oranges up a little bit. So we'll go up to the oranges, and the shadows I want to go down to the blues. So we're going to go to like this cyan blue area, and then highlights we're also going to take it up and match our midtones. So this is what our image looks like now, and then we're going to go down to our effects tabs. So we're going to take this texture and bring it down just a little bit, clarity down a little bit, and dehaze up a little bit. Sharpening, we're going to bring it up a little, and then I always like to toss a little bit of luminance on there because why not? And now we're going into the fun part, masking. I always like to start with a mask of the car because then I can build around that mask. So we're going to start with that mask. We're going to come and highlight the whole car, and I always like to start with bringing those shadows up and then going down to the blacks and putting some black back in the image. There we are. So it is a sunny day, so we will bring those highlights up just a little bit. And then earlier when we took all that contrast out, we're going to start putting it back in now. Next we're going to go down to the whites and we're going to add a little bit of white to the car. Next I want to go down to the saturation of the car itself. I just feel it's really, really blue, so I'm going to lower the saturation just a little bit and bring up the temperature of the car. I think the wheels are really bright on this image, so I'm going to go to the wheels and take them out of our mask. So we're going to go to a subtract from our linear mask. So we're going to use a radial gradient to take out the mask we have on the wheels. Radial gradient, we're going to take those wheels out of the mask. That back one I want to leave in. So that back one's going to stay. The front one I wanted to take out though. Next we're going to go into a linear gradient, which we're going to take it from the bottom of the image up. So we're going to do a linear gradient, go start at the bottom and roll that up, take it right up to right underneath the car. Then I want to take the exposure down, the black down, and the shadows down. Then it looks like there's a shadow in front of it. I want to come and take some of that saturation out right there and start lowering that exposure down more. Right about there, so it kind of looks like there's a shadow coming up towards the car. Then we're going to go take down some of the clarity and some of the texture. We're also going to raise that linear mask up just a little bit. Next, we're going to go back to our mask 1, which is our car, and we are going to do a duplicate invert mask, and we're going to take out our tire. We are going to take this and we're going to release the shadows of the background just a little bit and then up our whites. Next, I want to come over here and do a giant radial gradient on this side of the image, and because that's where the sun would be coming from, and I kind of want to make it look like there's a sun glare on that side of the image. So let me straighten up the image. We're going to create a mask, create a radial gradient, and we're just going to do it on this side of the image right here. We're going to lower the clarity and we're going to increase the exposure. I think that'll be good. Next, I don't feel like the blacks in the image really fit the image very well, so we're going to take a little bit of them out. So we're going to go to our blacks panel on the light page and we're going to release some of the blacks. Perfect. All right, I think this is a good edit on this photo. And I didn't get the blue right. Dang it. There. Had to go back and fix the blue because I didn't get the blue right. Next, I'm going to show you guys how I take this edit and spread it across all the images in my album. What you do is you double click on the image, choose edit settings to copy. Then you have all of these settings. You want to click on everything besides auto settings and crop. So masking, copy. So what you're doing is basically taking all of the edits that you just made besides the cropping and you're applying it to the next image. And what's going to happen is AI is going to take all your mask from this image and try to apply it to the next image. But sometimes it doesn't work very well and you have to go in and manually change everything. So we're going to go to our next image and we're going to click Control V. And that's what it gave us, but all of our edits that are the same besides our mask are a little different. You can see on this one how our mask missed some of the car but did grab the logo in the background, so we just have to fix that. So we're going to delete everything besides the edits, and what we're going to do is highlight our car again to get the same edits we had on the last photo. So we're going to subtract that front wheel with the radial gradient, and we're going to do that same thing on the inverted mask we have above this one. So we're going to delete it, add, and then we're going to invert object selection, and we have that same mask that we had earlier. Next, we're going to look at our sun glare, and I think it looks good. And what I do have a problem with right now is all of this down here. I don't think it looks very well. So we're going to mess with our linear mask on the bottom and we're just going to adjust it just a little bit and bring it up. And then I think we're going to up the exposure on this image just a little bit. And I think it looks good. We can use the AI tool to remove the little leaf we have in the image. So we'll remove it and there we go. That image is done. On to our next one. So now we have this one, and we're gonna go to this one, and since we already have all of our edits copied, we're gonna paste them on this image. So we're gonna click Command V, let it do its thing. There we are. We're gonna go check all of our masks to see how they did. This wheel's a little off, so we can drag it over, and we can tilt the mask to match the wheel. Check this one, looks good. Check up here, I think it looks good. And check that one, and it looks good. That image is done. And sometimes it's not really this easy. When you go around and do tons of photo shoots in different spots and you change your settings, you do have to change how the edit is every once in a while. But since these photos were all shot on the same settings, I really don't have a problem with going through and applying the same edit to all the images. Lastly, we're gonna go to this photo and we're gonna do the same thing we did before and copy and paste our settings onto this photo. And same thing we did before, we're gonna go check all of our masks to make sure they were copied over the correct way. So the wheel radial gradient was, but it just needs adjusted a little bit. That image is done. Like I said, it's not always going to be this easy to take that edit over and copy it on all the images. These images were all taken near the same angle, which made it really easy for me to just copy and paste the settings over. Or when you go to a different angle of the car, your settings are always going to change. So don't expect to just be able to copy and paste the settings over and have the same mask across all your images. You should go back in and make sure all your settings copied over the correct way and all your masks copied over the right way. Because what'll happen is you'll get a photo like this one, and when you go to copy and paste your settings, they won't work very well. See how the logo's blown out, it's not the right color, and down here you have too much on that linear gradient. You're gonna need to go back in and change all your masks so they fit your photo individually. But there you go, that's how I go in and edit my photos and get the same edit over all of them. And so the next thing I would do is export all these photos, take them into Photoshop, and put them on a photo carousel to post to Instagram. And if I was giving them to a client, next I would put them all on my website so they can download them all. And then when I give them to a client, I typically ask the client when they want me to post their photos, because if they want to post them before I do, I'm typically okay with that. Because the clients do pay a lot of money for their photos and they want to show their cars off more than I do. And if you have any questions about how I edited these photos, just leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Also, if you're a photographer and want to be surrounded by people just like you, I have a link to my Discord down in the description below. It's a place where photographers can join, mingle, and show off their content to other photographers just like them. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope I taught you something new today.